back to Kleis Car Audio. My name is Connor, and this little video is going to be basically showing you how to use the application on a Thinkware U3000, which is the best dash cam available in the market. That model right there. Now this video is linked to another one we've done on this same car just to show you actually installed, but this is purely about the application to basically show you how it works really, because the instructions are one thing, and we obviously always hand over these cars when we fit these products and we show people how they work, but the problem is 6 months down the line, are you really going to remember how to connect your phone to it? Probably not, you know, unless you've got a photographic memory, which I don't. So I use this daily, so it's quite easy for me to say, but I'm going to connect my phone to this for the first time ever. Haven't actually done it yet, so this is proper raw on the fly footage, so we'll see how this goes. First thing you want to do, right, is you want to grab your smartphone, Android or Apple. If you're a smartphone user, obviously an iPhone user, we're going to want to go to the App Store, which I'm going to go on here. Okay, we're then going to go to the Thinkware application you need. Now there's about 4 Thinkware apps, don't download the wrong one, okay? You want the Thinkware Dash Cam link app, which is this one right here. We're going to then push top right. On yours it'll be download, but I've already got it downloaded because this is the camera I've got in my car. So I'm going to hit open. On my home screen you're going to see this, which is BMW 4 Series. That's obviously my car. Yeah, I've got another one here because you can actually connect this to multiple U3000s if you've got a few cars. So I'm going to go all the way to the right on my screen, but this is what screen you'll come up with, which is the add connection register screen. So you're going to hit the plus sign at the top right. You're then going to look through the models of cameras I think where this application is compatible with. Now as long as you know this model, you might trip up here if you don't know the model of it. Grab your box if you're not sure, or give us a call, whichever. The U3000 is the one we got, so I'm going to select U3000. It's going to then ask me to hold the communication button on the dash cam for more than 3 seconds, as it says here. So I'm going to go to the actual camera on the screen here, and I'm going to hold the third button from the left on down for 3 seconds. And I'm going to hear a little beep, and that's going to say it's ready, okay? So I'm going to follow the instructions because it says Bluetooth connection. My screen is going to show this, which says preparing connection and registration. I'm going to wait patiently. And look at that, eh? It connected first time. Who would have thought? So this is the screen here. It's going to show me the events while parking, because this actually camera's hooked up to an additional Thinkware battery, giving the customer nearly 2 weeks of parking record. So it's going to tell me I've got 6 motion detection and 2 impacts. Now I'm not going to go into that. I'm just, for now, I'm going to cross that out and I'm going to show you a little overview of the home screen. So I'm going to go to live view. Reason why live view's on there is so you can actually basically, it's more for us really, so we can angle the camera's lens up and down to get the right view, so it's not looking for seagulls in the sky and it's not looking for speed humps on the floor. So I'm going to ignore the, I'm going to listen to the pop-up, and it's going to switch from Bluetooth over to Wi-Fi to do this, and it's going to say, do you want to join it? Of course you do. You hit join. So now it's going to switch from Bluetooth over to Wi-Fi, and that basically allows more data connection, because you can imagine you can't stream 4K footage via Bluetooth, okay? Because obviously that's the camera. Now here's the screen. Obviously here's the front view. I'm going to put the wipers on to clear it. There's a couple of seconds delay. There you go. It's the front screen. And I'm going to touch the screen, and I've got the option then to hit the little R. If I hit the R, it's going to give me the rear view. And there's the rear view. The rear view is covered in wet rain droplets at the moment, because this being a saloon car doesn't have a rear wiper, so that's unfortunate. But as you drive faster and faster, put some Rain-X on your rear window, the water will just run off, which is great product to put on your rear window for a dash cam. Obviously the rear camera is set up. You can see just about the rear tailgate there, and you can obviously see the roof of our workshop, giving you the view you need. So I'm going to go back out of here. I'm then going to go to dash cam settings. These settings you probably not need to adjust so much, because we set it up before we leave here, but you've got memory card settings at the top. This is where you would choose your priority of what you want recording on the memory card. So do you want more parking mode, or do you want more continuous recording when you're driving? People that want this to record as a surveillance cam on the driveway because maybe their cars are getting damaged, then yes, you probably want to push that button there and change it to parking priority, okay? But if you're using it as a normal conventional dash cam with maybe the additional feature of parking mode, you want it on continuous, okay? You've also got the option here to format the card, so if you want to completely wipe it, you can push the format button. Now I'm going to go to camera settings now. So starting from the top, we've got the resolution options. Reason why there's resolution options is because the front camera, you can either have 4K at 30 frame rates per second, or if you want a smoother image, then you want it at 2K resolution at 60 frame rates a second. There's arguments which are better either or, but after a bit of research, 4K at night time is better. So we're stepping into winter months now, so I'm going to send this camera out with 4K footage on. Image quality, normal or high quality, you're always going to want high, but people that want to maybe produce more storage space on their SD card and not take up so much of their memory card, you want it on normal. Brightness on the front is we always set on middle, but obviously brightness on the rear, actually I'm going to change that to bright, because this rear window we've tinted in this car, so I want it as bright as possible. Rotate rear camera, if you have to put the camera in a position where you've got to put it upside down because of, I don't know, an installation application where you can't put it the right way around, then you've got the option to rotate it round. Super night vision you want on, in our opinion, on continuous and parking mode, so you've got the best night vision technology when you're driving and when you're parked up. I'm going to go back now by touching the top left arrow. I've then got record settings. There's a lot here. I'm going to go over the ones that are important, ignore the ones that aren't. So voice recording's on at the moment. If you don't want to record your voice, you can disable that. Continuous mode, incident recording sensitivity. That's how sensitive this is a shock sensor when you're driving. If you're driving a quite a hard suspension car, you don't want that on obviously at high sensitivity. You want it on low. If you're driving a car that drives like an armchair, then you maybe want that on a little bit higher. That's personal preference. Parking mode. Very important. We put it on radar mode to give the most amount of recording. That will give this customer, like I said, a week or two recording. If you want it on motion detection, top left, you just touch that button there and it'll basically tell you that it's in motion detection. Now I'm going to leave it in radar because that's what we want. Parking mode, wait recording time. That is basically if you want the camera to go into parking mode a minute or two after you've locked the car, so you don't get parking mode when you're just sat there getting your things together before you exit. I won't worry about the rest. You're getting a bit wet, Matt. Should we pause this video for a second? So Max was getting a little bit wet outside, so we've obviously moved the car inside the workshop now to carry on this footage. Impact sensitivity in parking mode. Depending on how sensitive you want this to pick up, if someone is hitting the car, whether lightly tapping or hard hitting, you might want to change that sensitivity to higher or lower. We always go with a middle sensitivity. You set it up too high and, you know, possibly a cat jumping on the car might set off. You might want that recording, I don't know, it's entirely up to you. Radar sensitivity, that's if the car's in radar mode. That is a sensitivity you want to adjust. Now this is done in meters, so lowest being 1 meter, low 2 meters, mid 3 meters, and so on and so forth. That's meters from the camera, so obviously the bonnet adds about 1.5 meters on top of this, so we always go with middle, which gives a 3 meter detection between the front of the car and the back of the car. Use external battery, so we've got that on this because this customer has got the largest 5V battery fitted. Enabled that, which means we don't need to put all this other functionality down here. This settings here is actually so you can protect the battery of the factory car. So if you've got it hardwired and you want parking mode turned on, this camera can actually be set so at like 12.3 volts, the dash cam will automatically shut down, so you don't get a necessary draw that's going to put strain on your car battery. Now the problem with having it run like this rather than with an additional battery is you could turn your car off on 12.4 volts and half an hour later it's on 12.3 and that camera doesn't record anymore. So parking mode doesn't actually give you that long when set up like that. So if you want parking mode, or if you have an electric car, you have to have a battery added on. Simple as that, okay? So I'll go back a page and I'm going to road safety settings. A lot of these settings we don't even advertise, don't offer, because we don't think that the lane departure warning and front collision warning and rear collision warning is worth having on, because in most modern cars you have that technology built into it, which is far, far superior in my opinion. Well, our opinion here actually. Okay, so I'm going to go straight to the top and I'm going to talk about speed cameras. So you can turn these off or on. These will basically tell you about speed cameras on the road, average speed cameras, trevolos, forward facing, normal Gatsos. All those cameras will be on here if you want them on. She'll talk to you though. So if you don't want speech talking to you when you're driving, tell about speed cameras, or you've already got it on Apple CarPlay, you can literally disable it like that. Okay, simple as that. Go back a page and I'll go to system settings. So this has got options for turning the volume up and down depending on how loud you want her to talk. Now you can adjust the volume independently for the speed cameras and her telling you about notifications. So if you want speed cameras on but you don't want them quite as loud as everything else, you can turn it down by doing one on there. Simple as that. LED security lights, you can turn them off and on this, so you can choose spread, or lateral face. That's basically a security light on the front and rear camera that you can have on when someone moves in front or back of the car. So if you want to let people know that you have a dash camera recorded and parked up, you want that on. If you want to be more subtle, then you have that off obviously. Time zone, pretty obvious. You want the camera to have the right time, obviously Greenwich Mean Time. If obviously you're in summer months, you want daylight saving on, but the clocks went back a few days ago, so we're going to turn daylight saving off. Speed stamp, well, that's personal preference. If you want to have speed completely displayed on every single footage, you want that on. But if you want it off for whatever reason, we're not judge or jury, then disable it. And then Wi-Fi frequency band, you don't need to worry about that. And internet, well, that's probably going to be another video I do on that. That is where you can actually connect this camera to your home Wi-Fi. So when you pull up on your house, or actually a work Wi-Fi if you're in range of the Wi-Fi network, the camera will connect to the internet. So if your car is hit whilst parked up, the actual application will actually notify you your car's been hit. So rather than finding out a day later and having to go back through the footage, you'll be alerted straight away. But that's another video, that one. That's the Thinkware connected app. I'll go through that because I've got mine connected like that. But that is pretty much it for a dash cam application walkthrough on the Thinkware U3000. It's not just a U3000, this actual app does a few of the other models in the range, the Q1000, the F790, and I think the F200 Pro, which is all models we also sell. I'll quickly show you how to go into footage that you've already got saved. So if you touch the play button at the bottom middle, which I just touched, this will actually give you all the footage you can go through and actually look at it all. So this is all the footage of this camera's already recorded. I'm scrolling down quite fast. That's by file. Each basically recording here is done by timestamp, so everyone is done in minute intervals, so it's very easy to find the footage. Or if you've got like 2 weeks of recording, you can actually touch the by day button to make it easier to find. If you've got 2 weeks of footage, you want to go to a particular date, and then you want to go down and choose a particular time as well. Extremely, in my opinion, very easy to use. Obviously it's easy for me to say because I use these a lot, but hopefully this video will help you use your Thinkware model with the dashcam link app. But yeah, so this will show you the rear footage by touching the rear at the top, or the front footage at the front, so you can filter it by front and rear camera and by time and by day. So what you can also filter it by is all the recordings in particular mode. So rather than viewing every single footage in one folder, so that's continuous, that's the impact, the shock sensor version, the parking mode, everything like that, you can go to all at the top and go, I only want to view the footage whilst I'm driving, or I only want to view the shock footage. So if you had an impact, the footage gets taken out of the continuous and goes into the incident. Or the manual record, I'll tell you about that in a second. Parking incident, obviously any impact parking goes in here, and parking recording motion and radar is in here. So if I go parking impact, it will give me far less footage, because obviously this car hasn't had many impacts when driving up. Most of these are probably just us opening and closing the boot, or open and closing the doors. The only other one I didn't explain about there is the manual record button. So at the top left here, we have a big button, which I can just about push without seeing it, which is a big record button. This is the manual record button. That will basically, when you push it, it will go back 10 seconds before you press the button and 10 seconds after. No, it's not magic, it's just a buffer. So what that means is you're driving along, someone's driving like an idiot, or hey, you might see a fancy bluebell red bird or something that you really like. Just push that button there and it will go back 10 seconds and save the 10 seconds after and puts it in a different folder, which doesn't get overwritten automatically at the end of each working day or whatever, you know, or whenever the SD card is full up. And that is what's in that folder, the manual record one. It's only things pushed in there. So if I go back to the play button, and then I go back to parking incident, and then I don't know, I go to this particular footage here at 3:16 p.m. I touch that one, takes a few seconds for obviously 4K footage to load up obviously, but there it is. There's the beep, that indicates a shock sensor, and the little arrow at the bottom left here is a download button. It says copy one video to internal memory, and all you do is hit OK. I'm not going to hit OK now because it takes a good minute for a 4K footage to download to your phone. And then once you've got it in there, you can then export it, you know, send it email, use it for insurance, and so on and so forth. And there's obviously the footage there. You can see that as clear as day. Obviously that is me standing here with no rear wiper on, so I can't obviously see much out of a completely rained on windscreen, but all you've got to do is put your wiper on and clear it. If I disconnect it, so I'm going to disconnect from the camera. Imagine you've downloaded that footage where I said copy to internal memory, and then I'm going to go to playback, and then you'll see now I've only got 2 footages on there, okay, which is the 2 footages that I've downloaded on my own U3000 from before. So in fact, if we go here, what's this, 6th of October, I can touch on that. My phone's not connected to it at the moment. I'm going to turn the volume down, and then you're going to see some footage that I recorded the other day. And this was quite funny footage actually. Well, I say funny, highly illegal mind you, but this motorbiker decided to overtake me on the back wheel. So I recorded that, and yeah, just in case I needed it for any legal reasons. That's basically it, how you track the footage. And then I guess what I'll show you as well actually, so I can go on here and then I can export it by pushing this little bottom left here, this little arrow key, and it will copy to an album. What that basically means, it puts you into the photo gallery rather than having to view that footage within the app. You can view it in your photos, and then what you can do, you can then email it straight from your photo album or airdrop it, because the file's quite large obviously.
You can actually click the top left button anyway when you're connected to the camera, and then that will actually switch you between. So you probably could have looked at your footage.
Oh, front and rear, like that. There you go, so you can touch the F and R.
Click the back arrow.
Yep.
That memory card in the top left hand corner.
Yep.
That switches you between the camera you're connected to and the
your downloaded footage. Oh, there you go. See, I learn something new every day. My Max is still teaching me, and I've got this in my car. But there's a lot obviously on this app, so I'm not gonna blabber on anymore. If you have any questions about a particular feature I may have missed out on, or you want me to explain a bit more, then give us a phone call, or links are in the description, so you can obviously give us a contact like that. But yeah, that's about it on the Dashcam link app that I can explain today. So for now, that's Connor from John Kleis Car Audio signing off. Don't forget to subscribe.